Welcome to Four Movies, where I'll be discussing four movies that have something in common. But what they have in common, I know, but do you? If you don't, that's cool too, because I'll say it at the end of the video, so it's all cool. But if you do, say it before I say it, because then nobody's going to believe it, that you knew what you're talking about. But anyways, this one, once again, this is going to be a tricky one. Tricky one. Perhaps. But here we go. First movie. Bam. Lost Souls. If you haven't seen this movie, like I said, yeah, I personally think it's kind of slept on, but it's well worth a watch. It is a great horror movie. It plays well, where it's one of those things where it's like, am I crazy? Is this crazy? Or is everything crazy? Or is it just me? And I don't know what's going on. And so you have this thing going on where it's like, is it that or whatever? It has a certain feel to it, a je ne sais quoi, if you will, because of the fact that it is directed by a director who is primarily a director of photography. Like, he, I believe, is the one that was the cinematographer for Saving Private Ryan, Minority Report, and a lot of Steven Spielberg films. But he directed his own movie, and this was it. And so it's like horror movie, but looks fantastic. And it wasn't at the norm of that, because at one point there was some very visually beautiful horror movies coming out, where you have Pulse, you have, was it Game Over, or the one with Frankie Muniz in it? No, was Frankie Muniz in it? There was one, I forget what the world was called. It was based on some kind of video game that killed people. I forget what the world that was called, but that was in that genre of movies where you have like The Ring and stuff like that, where these I don't know, it was almost like, I don't know, it was some really good stylistic horror movies, but they were like horror movies, but they looked fantastic. I was like, wow, whoever in the world is color grading this and doing that is doing a fantastic job. It is great. And second movie, unfortunately, on a double-sided discs. And if you don't know, I think double-sided discs suck. They are not good. I don't like them at all. They're horrible for the display. Bam. Beetlejuice. If you haven't seen Beetlejuice, why haven't you seen Beetlejuice? Goodness gracious, it's so good. But it's definitely unique. It is Tim Burton's, I believe, second movie. Is it his second movie? I don't know where Edward Scissorhands fits into place. This could have been after Edward Scissorhands, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. But I know that, you know, Tim Burton is like, oh, Tim Burtonness. Some of that's derived from Beetlejuice. Whereas you have a lot of people don't associate Tim Burton with directing the first Pee-wee movie, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I don't know if he did the other Pee-wee movie, because there was Pee-wee Big Adventure and then Pee-wee Big Top or something like that. But yeah, no, he definitely created his style there for that in Beetlejuice, like I said. And once again, I did enjoy the sequel that they did. The sequel, I thought it was enjoyable. Like I said, it was definitely watchable. And like I said, it's like a lot of people just toss in the trash can. But it's like, we live in such a time where it's a bunch of people are overcritical, and it's like, dude, you need to lighten up. Honestly, it's like, lighten up. It's not all that bad. It's one of those things where like a movie has so many moving parts that to get a movie put together is a task in and of itself, and make it make sense. Like I said, I can understand Southland Tales taking a year to be edited so that it would make sense, because there was so much going on it. And it's a weird movie, don't get me wrong, but it's one of those things where it's like, there's so many moving parts in a movie that it is hard to get it all together. And there's so many people that'll sit there and be like, yeah, the movie wasn't good, yeah, the movie was junk. But in my mind, I'm like, what movie have you directed? Where are you? You're not even in their peer level, honestly. So, like I said, it has a lot of moving parts and stuff like that. Like right now, I'm making an animated film, and it's one of those things where it's like, animated film, I have a lot of control in that. I have most all of the control in that, which is great and phenomenal. And I like that, but I would like to direct live action movie. I do have a script written. Matter of fact, I have two scripts written, but I can't. I think, like I said, I'm going to do a video on my Gremlins 3 script, but just not right now. But that's the one I don't think is going to see the light of day, except for on this platform, on YouTube. Because I don't know, I sent it to Warner Brothers and they were like, "Yeah, we're good." Because I think Gremlins is owned by Warner Brothers and Amblin, and I was just like, just take the idea, just take the idea. All I want is a writing credit. Just say story by me, story by Wade, story by, co-written by, whatever. Well, just give me the credit so I can sit there and use that on further products where I sit there and go, hey, this is an original piece I wrote. I'm one of the co-writers of Gremlins 3. But that's an idea. I don't know. If I was more persistent with it, I guess I would, but I can't make that many copies of the script. So there's definitely one script that I sent out to them, one that I have that I will, reiterate here. I've been waiting for a Gremlins 3, goodness gracious. And then, of course, that would break off into its own franchise type deal. Kind of. Like I said, there's definitely like another movie after that, in my idea. But I don't want to give any spoilers for when I release the video where I do that, because, like I said, anyways. Fourth movie, boom, The Relic. If you haven't seen The Relic, like I said, there's a lot of people that will toss this movie in the trash too. But The Relic is good. The Relic is phenomenal in so many aspects. And one of them being that it uses, I think it uses practical lighting for most of the stuff. And it's like, it's dark, but you see what's going on. Like, it's not the Doom movie Dark, where you couldn't even tell what was going on, or Woman in the Yard, where the color grading was so dark you couldn't see what was going on. There was darkness in the movie, but you could. This is the most well-placed darkness. Like I said, the movie is easy to see. You see everything, and the darkness that you do see is well used. Like, you can't see to a certain level. You only see like a flashlight drop, but and you don't see everything. But what you see is phenomenal, and the way that it's used is great. Whereas it's not a color grading thing. Like, the color grading is phenomenal. Whereas you have like Black Phone, which is a good story, but the color grading sucks. I don't like the color grading on that. There was a new Firestar movie where the color grading, like, it feels like you're in a cave with a small candle, and that's the only light you get in the entire movie, even if it's daytime. I'm like, why is it so dark? I'm not a fan of that color grading at all. In no way, shape, or form. It distracts from the movie. It takes me out of the movie, and it's hard for me to watch those kind of movies. But The Relic uses darkness to its full advantage. Also, the guy that's on there, he has a small little part at the beginning, because Tom Sizemore's character is talking to, like, I guess a lower detective than him. He's like, who gets a dog in a divorce, and blah blah. And that guy was on a TV show that used to come out called G versus E. It was a Good versus Evil, but it was called G versus E, and it was like a 70s cop show. But I mean, it wasn't in the 70s, but it played like that kind of. It was so good. Like, I don't know where the one that will happen to it. I don't know if I can find episodes of it, but I found that I got an old VHS tape that has episodes of that on it, and I am so stoked to watch that, because that's going to be amazing. Like I said, I found videos that I recorded of, like, the original Beast Wars show on television, with probably maybe some commercials in there. That's going to be great. I'm going to love to watch those. It's going to be phenomenal. But this movie, good one. Well worth a watch. There's also a scene where it's like, it was, like I said, they took risks at this moment, and one of the risks that they took in this movie is that there's a scene where the monster is, if you don't know what the movie's about, it's basically they're in a museum and there's a monster loose in the museum. They get locked in the museum, there's a monster loose, and they have to deal with this monster. There's a scene where they take a risk, and basically it's a live action person running, the monster grabs him, and it turns into a fully digital person. And now you can sit there, you can totally tell when it happens, but it doesn't make it less of a risk, and a good risk to take. Like, it was well to watch. It was great stuff. Like I said, they were doing things. There are things like, there's no bounds to be broken anymore. It's almost like to a degree, but I guess there's just not people pushing those boundaries anymore. Like the boundaries are far reaching now. It's one of those things like, do you have new stuff, whatever. Other than like new ways of telling a story, I don't think there's any like bounds that are really needing to be broken anymore. Like I said, like technology has gone so far that it's one of those things where it's like, maybe we just need to go back to basics and start from the top and work our way, or start from the bottom and work our way up again. Who knows? But whatever. Like I said, movies are never going to be as big as they were back when, like, I was, going to the theater and stuff like that. Like when I was going to the theater in the '90s and stuff like that, movies were so much bigger at that point, and like it had a grandeur to them that it will no longer have anymore. I don't know how in the world they would bring that back unless they amp up the theater experience. But I mean, they have 4Ds, but 4Ds, the cinemas is one of those things where like it's gimmicky. Like the 3D, like real D is coming out of the thing. 3D is gimmicky too. You have to add the gimmicks to the movie. The gimmicks are in the movie. The gimmicks are not the theaters to do. So I don't know if that could be a thing where like you have like I said. Anyways, I could go on and on. But anyways, bam! Stay tuned. Not a double-sided disc. I mean, it's kind of shiny, but still not a double-sided disc, which is awesome. Stay Tuned is one of my favorite John Ritter movies. I believe that they should make a sequel with his son, like his son playing this role, like Jason Ritter playing John Ritter's role in this would be so great. Like I said, and there's so many opportunities to express this. Like let's say if it's streaming or stuff like that, like you caught on the streaming TV, like that could be really interesting and stuff like that. So if they could do that, that'd be cool too. And those have been the 4 movies. I hope you enjoyed. Now these 4 movies, what do they have in common? Do you know? If you do, say now, because I'm about to say it right now. Lost Souls and Beetlejuice both have Winona Ryder in them. Bam, done. If you haven't seen Lost Souls, like I said, definitely see Lost Souls. There's a scene on there where she's like, there's a guy that escaped from a mental thing. He has a knife, and he's at the far end of her house, and then she like runs across his room, and he's right in front of it. Oh, it's so good, so well played. The Relic and Stay Tuned are all directed by Peter Hames, who also directed Sudden Death, who directed 2001, 2010, the sequel to 2001. Yeah. He directed a whole lot of other movies too. Like he has a wide range of films that he's done. But those are what's common in there. Thanks so much for watching. If you watched this far, you're awesome. Stay awesome and keep on watching and like and subscribe. And like I said, I do a video a day until I get a silver play button or gold play button if I'm lucky, or if I run out of physical media to show you, but I do have a lot of physical media to show, so we're doing this and we're doing it well. And thank you so much for watching. See you tomorrow.